We're live.
We're live. It's the Spinnin Backfist MMA Show for Thursday, July 14th. It is Robbie. It is Lee. It is Big Ev. We are here, Jack Mackless today because he's got Unnecessary Roughness. Great college football podcast. Is college football season starting?
It's right now. Since I'm like on Pick Central, we do like a win total Wednesday. Since the mini golf we did on Thursday this week, we do like a over under for a team total. It's right in that time when you really start like you can like talk about it and really be like, oh, it's only like a month and a half away.
Yeah,
It's so still a month and a half.
Yeah.
August 27th.
Gotcha.
That's when it starts.
That's
but
the first day.
It's just about go time.
It's there.
It's
also there's no beside there's MMA and there's baseball and that's about it right now.
Fact.
Nothing else.
MMA is what we're here to talk about. UFC Long Island this weekend. If you haven't seen our interview with Brian Ortega, I think you got to go back and watch that.
I honestly,
that was one of my favorites we've done.
I thought the same thing. He told stories he had never told before.
Yep.
He told stories he basically said he'd only told his like immediate family.
Which means, are we family?
I guess we are.
We
I
should
think,
steal Olive Garden's catchphrase, when you're here, your family.
He was one of those that it's like if you just knew Ortega in his like whole kind of like persona, whatever, and you put like me, you, and Jack Mack like just matched up with him, you wouldn't think we'd be the guys that he would like just hang out with, like hit it off with. I feel like he really liked us.
Yeah. I think so too.
By the end of it, I think he was like, "Oh, I like these guys."
Yeah,
I'm mad I wasn't here for that. I'm so mad. But on the live stream, yeah, it seemed like he like obviously he's going through the weight cut. Obviously he's going through a lot of stress on his body right now. But he seemed to like open up by the end of it. He was like looking at his eyes, sitting up. I thought he did it. Or you guys did a really good job with that.
I don't know if you noticed too. He has very like piercing eyes.
Oh yeah,
I noticed quite. He like when he spoke, like I would look at him in his eye. I mean, he was like always looking at me dead in my eyes.
Yeah,
when he spoke,
very piercing eyes. Great
very
guy
blue,
though.
Nice.
Go
eyes.
back, look at it. It's 30-40 minutes. I want to say somewhere in between that time. I want to say close to 40. So check that out. He's in the main event this weekend against Yair Rodriguez. We'll get to that. But we obviously have a lot of fights to get to first, some MMA headlines to get to first. I think.
Hold on. We got somebody on the stream saying there's some other audio playing. Something maybe open on your computer or something.
Feedback.
Hold on. We got somebody on the stream saying there's some other audio playing. Something maybe open on your computer or something. We're getting this checked out right now. Appreciate you, Christopher Alagio and Brian Stark.
Check it now.
Is that all good for the boys in the chat? We appreciate
check.
you. How's the audio now? How are we feeling?
Sounds good on the headphones.
Robbie said it sounds good on the headphones. Just give us a thumbs up. Let us know that it's all right. So we'll get going. We obviously want the audio to be on point, crispy for the people, for the listeners, for the viewers, for the spinnies, the fisties as we call them.
All good.
All good. All right.
Let's go.
Brian Stark, Reed, Christopher, appreciate you guys.
All right. Sorry about that.
Kevin Hannaford, thank you, sir.
Luckily, we didn't get into anything yet, which is great. We were just about to
check
talk.
out the Ortega interview if it was
Exactly.
hear it as well.
It's on the channel.
Really, really good.
Great interview. Shout out to Brian Ortega for the time. We're here to talk some headlines. The UFC Long Island card. The first headline I think we got to talk about is the Nate Diaz interview. Yep. Everyone's been talking about this. You watched the full thing. I've seen most of the clips from it that have hit Twitter. I feel like all of the big things that he's talked about, some of the things that you were telling me before I watched it came true, where I was just like laughing to myself about him talking about Khabib and being like, he didn't fight anybody. He's a bitch.
I just think it's hilarious, his mentality of like, if you didn't stop me, like you didn't beat me.
Yeah.
Like that's the way he generally approaches fighting. It kind of the way he approaches fighting mentally, like outside the cage, really is how he approaches it, like in the ring, like even like the Leon Edwards fight. Like he's like, if this was a fight to the death, like I would have won.
Yeah.
Like even though he dominated
the Jorge
for 4.5
Masvidal fight
rounds.
where he was like getting dominated, like at the end of that fight when they stopped it due to the cut above his
like,
eyebrow.
the doctor stopped him.
Yeah,
I wanted to fight still.
That wasn't
I wasn't done
yet.
My mind was sharp. He will never back down, stop a fight. He will always be in there. 10-round fights, Dana. Let's go.
There's also, I feel like, no scenario in which he could lose a decision that he'd agree with.
No,
yeah.
Because he'd just be like, I'd fight still.
I'm standing here, like, let's go, pussy.
That's what I love. He was really just talking about like really going off the Khabib thing. Like he's like, oh, like Poirier, Gaethje's, like other guys beat him the same way he beat him. Like they're
Like
bums.
it's
like,
nothing,
like
yeah.
just talking shit about them too.
Yeah.
Just being like, and I love he always does this thing like he's like everybody sucks. That's why I don't fight. Like
Yeah.
no one. No, he literally. I don't know if you caught this part too. He pretty much said the only people
I
that
did
were
see
worth
this.
fiting was like Adesanya and Francis Ngannou.
Francis, yeah.
That he'd fight Francis.
They're the only two that have done shit.
that have
worthy
done
of him
shit like
fighting.
worth him. Like that he's like he basically considers them the only two UFC fighters that don't suck.
Someone put a fat filter on him today, and they were like, "Imagine Diaz bulking for a Francis fight."
Gets up to like 210.
That would be hysterical. What would he look like at 210?
Yeah,
I would love to see it.
Like
I mean,
hulked out.
McGregor was calling him skinny fat at 170.
Yeah, which like
he's
he
not
has that body type. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like he's got chiseled abs.
There, I feel like there's just some guys like that. Like I remember talking about like we talked about Gaethje a little bit last week. Like he kind of has a similar where like I feel like they could just like work out forever and they just won't get like that shredded
yeah.
like build. Like some guys just don't have that.
They say that about Samoans in wrestling. There's a lot of Samoans in wrestling, like a famous family and whatnot. And they say that their body type, like you just can't get to that chiseled, like I don't know.
Like a Michael Chandler type.
Exactly,
Just, like,
yeah.
shredded.
Yeah.
But The Rock kind of misproved that. Too.
Or like Dolce Lugambula this weekend.
Yeah. Monster.
This weekend, we're all going to be at the card as well. So if you're at the UBS Arena on Long Island, come say hey. It's going to be the three of us. Jack Mac will be getting reactions and whatnot. We'll be watching the fights. We have actual seats this time. So we're in like the lower bowl. I checked out the seats today. They're pretty sick.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
They're
awesome.
They're pretty great. So I'm looking forward to that. What were the other headlines that we should get into? The Darren Till thing? Did we talk about that last card?
Yeah. Not. I think we might have just mentioned that he pulled out. Maybe we didn't. I think there was no real details at the time of like what was going on other than like injury. He literally said that he thinks he's just really basically just feeling like real down.
Yeah.
Compared himself to like he said he thought he was having a quote unquote Tyson Fury moment.
Yeah.
For those that aren't familiar, after he was heavyweight champion, he went, I think the first time he basically kind of said he reached his pinnacle. Obviously, Till hasn't done that, but he went through a very time of depression. He put on a lot of weight and was away from boxing, got up to like almost, I think, 400 pounds. And obviously he's made a comeback and he's doing great now, but Till him just saying that was kind of like really put in perspective. Like he's really going through some shit mentally.
Yeah.
He was like famously suicidal. And I don't know if that's what Till is implying, but he could be.
Well, also even the Brunson fight, like he fought I'm pretty sure he fought with like a torn like MCL or like a bad knee injury.
He's had the knee injuries from the oblique kicks, which
Mhm.
everyone's pointing out. He said to Wonder Boy, like, you're a pussy for complaining about oblique kicks. And then he got injured via oblique kicks. Kind of ironic.
Yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah, Till said, and quote, "It's just so frustrating for me right now. It really is. I'm at a fucking low point." He's, I think, pulled out in like
3 fights in a row.
3 fights in a row, and like 6 out of like the last 7 that's been canceled for him.
And I mean, the fights that he's fought like haven't really gone his way recently either.
Yeah.
He has had a lot of close fights.
And-
Like
What was his actual last fight?
He fought Brunson and he
Brunson
was
got
injured,
beat.
and he was
Yeah.
injured in that one too.
yeah,
He just-
he fought through with a knee
He was
injury.
Gastelum before that, right before that?
was
No, Whitaker.
It was a 20
No, he
ACL,
put on a
right?
great Whitaker.
Yeah.
They had a great
Yes.
scrap, really
Yeah.
good scrap. Which I thought that showed, even though he lost that fight, that showed kind of the potential that he has. Like
Definitely.
he compete with like in my opinion, without question, number 2 middleweight right now.
Yeah. He has that much skill.
Did
Like
he
for
get
sure
rushed
skill.
into, did he get rushed into things too quick, you think?
Well, like the type of training that he was doing with Chimaev, obviously, like I don't think helps with that.
I don't
right?
even mean that. I mean like Heidel shot too quickly. I mean like
Oh,
career, overall career.
He did
perspective,
he got the
like,
Woodley one at 170 very fast.
very fast.
But he just came into impressive.
Yeah.
See, I remember at the time he came in, he just like ran through Wonder Boy, or not Wonder Boy, Cowboy.
Yeah, the Wonder
And like
Boy
I
fight
want
is
to say,
boring.
I want to say maybe his second or third fight,
Mhm.
and that was like I think that kind of blew people away that he ran through a guy like that early on in his career. And he was so young.
Him at 85 now too is like,
He looks huge there too. Like,
yeah. It's crazy that he made 70.
No,
It's
crazy,
it's almost.
yeah.
I think that might have hurt him more.
He like killed
than-
himself to make that.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if really that made more of a difference than like just rushing him, but obviously that didn't help
Yeah.
at any point.
Yeah. So best wishes to Darren Till. We wanted to see you on UFC London. Hopefully he'll get back in there soon. Anything else headline wise before we get into the card?
Just a couple of little things. I think UFC is about to announce that they're going to Sweden for a fight night.
Ooh.
That would be like the first, like one of the first international ones. It would be.
They're gonna do a fight night with Chimaev in Sweden.
I think they have to, right? Like main event versus.
That would be amazing.
See, I'm surprised like they wouldn't put him on a paper. Like he's a pay-per-view
That's
guy.
what I'm
He
thinking.
is.
To me, in my mind,
I
like,
agree. Who else would be the main? Like I would think like Hermanson, but like he's fighting obviously in London. Like, but that's like enough time. It would still like work out. I think that's
How much do they got to pay Gustafsson for him to say,
November.
fuck it, I'm back?
well, he is.
He retires, and then he's back, and then he snips, and then he snaps.
I
and then he
believe
snips, and then he
he-
well, he
snaps.
like had the fight scheduled with Rothwell, and then they cut Rothwell, and then I think he might even had another fight scheduled.
He has one scheduled.
I could
He
have sworn
currently
he
has
I-
one scheduled.
I could have swore he did. Yeah, that's why I was gonna say I think he did have something scheduled.
He again. Yeah, he's fighting Krylov on.
That's
London.
right. I was gonna say I was like I could
Yeah.
have swore that.
Huh.
That was what was in my mind. and I
I-
almost was thinking I was like, am I crazy?
Yeah,
Somehow
that's what
that
I
one
thought.
slipped through the cracks for me. Didn't know
Yeah.
that was a thing.
It's
Yeah.
a sleeper.
That, and we got an MSG card announced, right?
Yeah, 281 November 12th.
Yeah.
So that was also an interesting thing where, like, I think they changed pay-per-views around.
They thought that the Abu Dhabi one was going to be 281.
Mhm.
They were going to do 3 pay-per-views in like that time span,
Mm.
but it obviously didn't work out with the champs fighting. So so they're going 2 instead. So they're moving Abu Dhabi to 280. They're moving that one just like up a number, and then obviously
That makes sense.
Obviously, New York was just announced. I think this New York card is going to be massive.
Yeah. Do you think Jones is on it?
It has to be 2 out of 3. I really think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I see what I think it's going to be. What makes the most sense is I think that the 281 is going to be the Islam and Charles,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then I think the 281 is going to be Jones Stipe. That's what I think. I just think that makes the most sense on
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
And also, Charles Kochev came out and said that his fight's going to be announced very soon.
Did they say it's against Islam?
They haven't said that, but it seems to me like that.
it
It just
very much seems
everything
so.
we're hearing just kind of seems that that's the direction it's going. I personally don't really. I was gonna say approve it, and I would say I go back. So my thing is like, is he good enough to be there? I think like physically and all that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To me, I just think he should have to go through some tougher
Dariush.
guys. He literally hasn't fought a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
Like I understand he's on. I think it's like what 10, 11 fight win streak,
Yeah.
something
That's
like
why
that.
I'm like, are they really going to do that? Or are
Like-
they going to
like-
give Volk?
But
that
I
shot right away?
also on the other side of it, I understand where I'm sure a lot of those guys are probably like, no thanks,
Yeah.
when they get the phone call to fight him.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a little bit of back and forth. We're like, well, if you guys don't want to fight him,
Yeah.
then I'm just going to give him the fucking title shot with
Yeah.
Charles because Charles will fight him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Alright.
fight anybody.
Dariush doesn't break his leg, then we like it.
Yes, that would have changed everything
it's
if he
so
beat
much more.
Dariush for sure.
Like, but I think nobody's really wanting to fight Dariush either. It's
Yep.
going to be like I think it's going to be 2 out of 3 fights. It's going to be Adesanya Pereira, Oliveira, Makhachev, Jones, Stipe. It has to be 2 out of those 3.
You
I think
2 out of the 3?
I think so.
That'd be
I-
You think we're gonna get
absolutely.
both?
Yeah, I think they're
Is
planning.
there any chance Oliveira is going to
Well,
defend the title
remember
against
what-
Volk next?
No.
Well, so the only
Volk's
thing.
out 3 months.
Yeah, I would say Volk's
Oh,
Volk's getting the
the hand,
surgery.
forgot, yeah.
He's gonna have like a pin in his
Broken
thumb,
thumb?
I think.
Yeah. That seemed like the same thing Ortega got too when he showed
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
on his thumb. He said, I got a couple pins in there.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. So because a card like that, I mean, Adesanya's got to be the headliner. It would just be nuts for Jones Stipe to be like the co-main. But
Yeah, there's no way.
like
there's-
they're not
that
putting
would
a
be nuts.
they're not putting a non-title.
Yeah.
And I know people are like down to Adesanya right now, saying like snoozers, blah blah blah. He's still one of the biggest stars of MMA.
Of course.
This might be like his biggest fight.
Yeah.
With all the hype that's going to be around it with Pereira and everything. So
guy who
that's-
formally knocked him out.
that's
in
what
a
I'm saying. Like
different
that's
sport.
clearly a pay-per-view headliner. Like
And
no doubt.
also like
about it.
MSG, when you talk about that, you want the big entrance guys,
Yeah.
you want the flashy guys, and you want someone that has been there in the past too. Like he beat Brunson at MSG.
Yeah.
Where that's another thing where you could say like he started his career, not literally started, but in the early stages of his career, he fought here. Now he's fighting here again, headlining. It's like the journey, the come up, all of that.
Yeah.
I saw Chris Curtis talk about his Elsa quote. He called it the most cringeworthy quote
He's not
in the
wrong.
history of the UFC. It's up there. I don't know if it's the most cringeworthy ever. There's
Yeah.
been some bad ones.
Yeah.
There have been some bad ones. The fact that he repeated it, I think,
That's what made
crazy.
it worse. Yeah.
Yeah. If he just said it once and then we were like, okay,
It's
dude.
like, all right, you missed. Like you threw a shot out there and you missed. But then to like take the shot again and again and again.
I don't think he had anything like planned for after beating,
and he should have.
and he should have had a whole speech lined up for
Yeah.
Pereira, but he didn't.
DC said in his Hall of Fame speech that him and Helwani would like write things
Yeah,
together. He would ask Helwani for advice on what to write for post-fight
It's smart.
interviews, press conferences, all of that. He
Honestly-
wanted to know what he wanted to say.
Anyone in the UFC right now, Just ask Chandler what to say.
Yeah.
You want to talk about cutting promos? No one cuts a better promo than Michael Chandler right now.
I wonder if that guy's hitting up Helwani. I know they're friendly, right?
Yeah, I think
not
so.
that Helwani is this masterful like speechwriter, but if he knows that like he did it for DC,
Chandler just goes full like WWE.
he does. His first promo when he beat Dan Hooker, I think, was directly inspired from Ric Flair's like 1992 Royal Rumble promo.
I honestly thought the second one, this last one, was even better.
I thought so too.
I thought the post Tony Ferguson
when he
was
went
unbelievable.
and, like through all the different people that he basically wanted to fight next.
Yep.
He was just like, I'm waiting here for you. And McGregor. You know, if you want to do
Conor
170.
I want you at your biggest and your baddest.
Yeah, that was great. It was electric. Shout out Michael Chandler. I'm sure he'll be on Bussin' with the Boys again soon.
Nate Diaz went after Khabib in that interview too. Like he said,
we were talking about that.
That
like,
was
just, he ain't shit because he didn't fight anyone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's like, he's in the Hall of Fame now. I was here before the Hall of Fame existed, man.
Dude, I love Nate. I think it's weird. I see some people that it almost feels like they're not like in on the joke, and not that he's a real, but just like. He's Nate Diaz. Like he's just such like an authentic, like one of one individual.
Yeah.
Even when he says outlandish shit like that, there's just part of me that just appreciates it. Like I just think it's funny.
He's like, Francis is the only one worthy of fighting.
Like
me.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like just like ridiculous things, but but the part of it is, I swear to God, he would fight Francis.
Oh,
he's
definitely
a sick
would.
Fuck.
He would fight Francis for nothing too.
Probably.
If you were like, if Francis was like, hey, you want to come
bitch.
spar or something, he'd be like, yeah, bitch, let's go. I also saw Jake Paul did a quick like little interview with the Full Send MMA guy, and at the end of it, he did like the mic slap and like smacked his hat off. He's like, "Nah, I'm just kidding. It made me laugh. I was like, "All right, Jake, fair play." Do you want to get into this card, UFC Long Island? We got a lot of great fights to talk about.
I like a few of them betting wise. I like some dogs too.
I like this card a very good bit from an MMA gambling standpoint. I think there's a lot of good spots on this card.
You know what I love too is I'm going to be there with you guys, and I know you're going to put all the bets on it. So I'm just going to watch you guys sweat out all the bets.
Oh yeah, I've got some big action already on a couple of them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. The women's strawweight division opens up this card. Emily Ducote versus Jessica Penne. You guys got to lean here. This one, I don't know much about Emily Ducote.
She had a monster knockout on Invicta. It was the one where it was a head kick where the girl
and
she
went like still,
and then
she just like punched her.
Did we post
You've
that?
definitely seen it.
Yes.
If you're like MMA fan, you've definitely seen it.
Yeah.
Insane knock.
Yeah. So she's
okay.
She's like
is this UFC debut or no?
Yes, UFC debut, signed from Invicta. A lot of power, and going against an aging Jessica Penne. But
she's the favorite.
Yeah,
Ducote
is the favorite, like minus 162.
Yeah.
I think it was. I really don't know for this fight. I women's MMA debuts are really hard to like just track, and it's. I feel like you're either like we've seen both ends of the spectrum, like very recently, like Erin Blanchfield coming in and looking like a complete stud and like not worth that price tag because she was only like a minus like 200 on her debut. But then we've had so many that have just busted like instantly, and we're like, why are you in the UFC type scenarios? So I'm holding off for this, but I think I would lean Jessica Penne just because of experience wise, and it's women's MMA, and anything can happen. Really.
How long has Jessica Penne been in the UFC?
A long time. She beat Lupita Godinez though, like 4 fights ago. Like
she's not a bad fiter. She's 39 though, like you said. She's getting up there.
See, I'm not sure we're gonna bet this. If I did, I probably would do it by finish and probably get behind Ducote. The age thing is big. Like Penne being that was the one thing that kind of stood out to me was how old she was.
Made her debut in the UFC in 2014. She was also on Invicta 1.
Wow.
Wow. Ducote being 11-6 though is not.
No, definitely not. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Obviously, she has the flash and she has the power and she has like the big time knockouts that have gone viral. But like at the same time, it's like, can you just be like out toughed, out grappled, out like
for sure
done? You know what I mean?
That's definitely Penne's route.
Exactly. And the under 2.5 is plus 170 right now. Like that's not awful for a girl that does get finishes a good bit. I don't think it's awful.
That's why I like Ducote inside the distance. I don't love laying the minus 160 with her in her debut over a veteran, but if you're going to give me plus money, it seems like obviously finish knockout would be her route to victory. So that's what I like. Probably not sure if I'll really bet it, but that'd probably be where I'd go if I was going to.
Yeah.
We got some people in the chat. Sam in the chat says Ducati has almost as many professional fights in Invicta and Bellator, was a world champ. She has the experience. Not the UFC experience, though. I do think there's something different to that. I think when you're on the big stage, mentally, I think that changes something. In the middleweight division, Dwight Grant versus Dustin Stolfus. I like Dwight Grant.
Dwight Grant coming up to middleweight for this fight. This is at 85. He's a 70er, basically his entire career. Throws really wild. He throws really wild hooks, basically nothing.
Got a knockout.
Whenever I think of him, I think it was that first round against Daniel Rodriguez.
He
almost had him. He almost had Rodriguez finished, though. I will give him credit.
That fight, like,
it could have got stopped. It wouldn't have been like the craziest.
And that
thing.
would have been like a bad like stoppage either. We wouldn't have been bitching.
It definitely would have been that bad.
I really want to play Stolfus.
I think I'm gonna play Stolfus. I think.
Really want to.
What is he in this fight?
He's plus like 115, 120-ish.
Okay, so not too crazy.
No, it's not crazy.
It came down. At the beginning of the week, it was like plus 140, and now it's like plus 115, plus 120. He has the big grappling side.
Yep.
Big grappling side. He's gotten takedowns in a couple of his UFC fights before. The problem with him is that I'm buddies, or not buddies, but I know and wrestled against his Dana White Contender Series fight against
out of here
against Joe Pyfer. Yeah,
you wrestled against Joe Pyfer.
Yeah,
how'd you do?
I didn't do that well. No, he was like a state qualifier, and I was like a second-year wrestler. It was not good.
That's a cool story, though. Being able to say that.
Yeah, we grew up across town from each other. So like whenever like we like did like big practices, like they would always bring their team over.
So there you go. When people are like, don't criticize fighters without fighting yourself. We got a fighter on the podcast now. Lee, he's wrestled against all these UFC bitches.
Yeah. But like, you remember the Contender Series fight where he broke his arm? And Pyfer was winning that fight. He was winning the fight against Stolfus, and then Stolfus got signed, and then they've put him against 3 grapplers in a row. Like Dawkins is a better striker, but like he's still a grappler, and then Vieira's a grappler, and GM3's a grappler.
Of course.
So if you're not going to go against a grappler this time, I think that his offensive grappling is going to be really, really like needed for this fight, especially going against a power puncher that's coming up to 85. So you think he has better cardio and not pressed out as much. I'm going to hold off, but I would for sure lean Stolfus for this fight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bet him just on the money line.
It's not bad at all.
In the light heavyweight division, we got a spinning backfist guy, Dustin Jacoby.
I think maybe our first guest.
I think he might be.
Second. I think second.
Megan.
Yeah, he was second, like maybe second, third episode we did.
First like active fighter. We were like, all right, let's talk to like this guy, other than Patty, of course.
Yeah,
kind of co-worker difference. Dustin Jacoby versus Jung Da-un. Gotta ride for Dustin Jacoby here. Talked to him earlier in the week briefly on Instagram DMs when he was in Cody's corner, Cody Durden, Cody Brundage, and he said he's feeling good. I said, you're next for the win. He said, fuck yeah, brother.
This line is totally flipped.
It's crazy.
And I don't really understand
Has it?
So there was a point in time earlier this week that Jacoby was even up to minus like 140-ish. Now he's plus money. And I really don't understand why.
Also, he's a big Barstool Classic guy, as he said.
Yep, huge. Loved it.
Yeah.
I really don't understand what happened in the last 3 days of this line. A lot of money's got to be coming on Jung, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm
what's going on in Utah?
Jung is good. It's not that I think I just think Jacoby's much more technical, and I think that's going to be his route to victory as long as he doesn't get clipped.
I've seen so much love for Jung on Twitter this week.
Really?
I don't understand. Like, I understand like thinking that he has a chance because he's a much more powerful striker at 205, and he's going to be bigger than Dustin Jacoby, and Jacoby's usually the bigger fighter in there. But speed-wise, Jacoby's way faster.
Yep.
He's fought against like kickboxers his entire career, and Jung is primarily just a boxer. He showed a little bit of wrestling against William Knight, but that was just like one takedown that he used over and over again. And in a big cage like that they're using the 30-foot
True.
this weekend in Long
Arena.
Island.
Yeah,
So takedowns are going to be harder to get.
definitely.
He's going to stay off the cage, and I think he's going to work to a decision.
Can you get him as an underdog right now in the
Yeah.
Barstool?
Yeah,
plus
100, 105.
Yeah.
It's like
range.
obviously we'll have the parlay, but that's like a little spinning backfist side bet. Get him as an underdog.
I'm betting him. I'm getting him at plus 105.
I was actually kind of annoyed because I bet him. I thought the line was going to get wider for him. I bet him earlier in the week in like 120 range.
Oh wow.
I've already like locked it in. I just think he's, like he said, much faster, much more technical. Like aside of him just getting clipped, like I really think he can win the. Like he can just pick them apart on the outside, even though their range is like their heights. I think Young's like an inch taller. The range, their like wingspan's like pretty similar.
Young has 1 inch and 2 inches on reach. 1
You
inch
see,
on height.
even just how much faster he is, I'm really not worried about it that much. The one thing I would say, you brought up a good point that would say slightly concerned is he usually is the much bigger guy, so that is going to be different for him going into a guy that is slightly bigger at this weight class. But I'm still not even really that worried about it. Like I just think his technique and all that is so much better.
He fought Alex Pereira in kickboxing.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Like he got knocked out,
He
but
got
like,
knocked out,
but like
That's
still,
all-
apparently so
yeah.
does everybody. So.
it's not like he's scared of like going against like a bigger fighter or hasn't been training. Like he trains at a very good gym with a lot of bigger dudes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really the issue. What was I gonna
See, I'm
say?
on Jacoby. I like Jacoby. Yeah. I think Jacoby by decision is a good play as well. If you're looking for even more plus money,
That's like plus like 225.
Yeah.
I think that's really good too. Jacoby was hurt last fight too. With he's gonna throw a ton of leg kicks. Jung was really susceptible to the leg kicks in fights before, and he lost a striking battle to Sam Alvey, 205-pound Sam Alvey.
He did. Only like a year and a half, 2 years ago too.
Like no, not that long.
I think
ago.
he's getting credit. He ran through Kennedy and Checkwo,
and he looked so good this weekend, or last weekend, but like he did wrestling.
It was kind of a weird. It was like the fight with Kennedy was kind of weird. Like he ended up finishing him, just had him against the cage, just like raining on him to elbows. But it was a weird. Probably not. I don't think the stoppage was bad. Just kind of like a weird fight.
Yeah, it was very slow. It was like neither of them.
They both were kind of slow. Yeah,
they really didn't want to throw much, and then he hit him with one elbow and he stumbled. And
but then he just
here's my chance.
Yeah, he just attacked and he went for it and he hit.
It's a meme stoppage. Oh, and Gombas, our guy. This is his big like max play. Is Dustin Jacoby.
Okay, nice. Love that. The featherweight division, Bill Algeo versus Herbert Burns. Herbert Burns, one of those classic brothers of a great UFC fighter who, I hate to talk shit here, disappoints.
Yep. I've faded him in the past as a favorite, and I don't hate him in this spot as like a decent sized dog.
What is he, 150?
I've even seen up to like 170. The number's getting bigger and bigger.
Algeo
I don't love Algeo. I don't love the idea of laying minus 200 with Algeo.
Yeah, I wouldn't lay minus 200.
Like I just I think Burns by submission is like not a bad play here at all.
Burns submission round
guy, yeah.
Burns submission round 1 is plus 700. That's an insane line. That's an insane line.
I'm gonna play him on the money line for sure. I think at plus like 170, 175, whatever I can get. But I think I'm definitely gonna lay at least a little something on just submission in general as well.
Burns was minus 300 against Daniel Pineda.
Yep, and got smoked
and got absolutely wrecked.
That was actually the spot I faded him in.
Yeah, he has really good takedowns though. Really good takedowns, like and serious BJJ, black belt. Obviously, his brother Gilbert, but he's gonna gas. He's going to gas. That's 100% if he doesn't get the submission in the first round. He's also very hittable. His striking defense is 33%.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a good one's like 55. Like so, Jesus Christ. I think Algeo fight doesn't go the distance is the side minus 140. That's gonna be my biggest play.
I like that.
Algeo late.
Biggest play on the card, that is.
Yep. Algeo late with Burns early. I think it's the side to be.
There you go. Biggest play on the card for Lee there. He'll obviously tweet out the full card. You always put a nice little note thing together.
That'll be tweeted out tomorrow.
There you go. Ricky Simone versus Jack Shore. This is sneaky, like
This is like,
one of my most anticipated fights in the entire card.
For sure.
I can't wait for this. I'm a big Jack Shore guy myself. Ricky Simone, his toughest test in the UFC to date for sure. I do think Jack has more paths to victory that he could obtain realistically.
Yeah, I think I've really went back and forth in this fight because I do like Jack Shore a lot, and I do think his overall technical striking is much better. I think Ricky Simone, it was kind of interesting. We saw he landed the big knockout in his last fight over Asanso, which I do think that was fluke. I can see Lee's giving me the eyes. I agree. I think I agree with what he's thinking. A little flukish. I think a little Sanso's older. I don't know. He's definitely much smaller as well. I don't know. Like that I think that almost gave Simone a little more respect that he's not going to just like, he can't just be like just wet blanket everybody, that he actually like landed a big time knockout blow. I agree with you as well, Robbie, that I think Jack Shore has more paths to victory here. I mean, he's like, he can grapple. His striking's good. I also thought I respected in his last fight, he showed some big time resilience. Like he was getting touched up by Valiev and was able to come back and land a big knockout shot. Like, I think, did he knock him out in the third round? Or I know he dropped him, at least I know badly.
He dropped him
twice in the third round.
Yeah.
And ended up like where he was in some trouble early. Like I think Valiev was getting the better of him early, and he was able to come back and land some big shots and kind of like take over late.
Yep.
Which really impressed me. So I lean Jack Shore, but there's something, I don't know. Simone is definitely tough.
He's tough. If he puts Shore in his back too, I feel.
I think there's a decent argument that this is both their toughest tests.
Oh, 100%. Definitely. Yeah.
Like I think Simone definitely
great matchmaking. As well. Other than this being on Long Island and not London.
Yeah. The only part for me is that I don't like. I think like I wouldn't say anyone betting Simone at plus 140 is like a bad bet. It was funny. I was even just talking to Jerry before he came in, and that's like the one that stuck out to him, that he loves Simone. I don't know. I definitely lean. I think this one I might just enjoy as a fan. I'm a big Jack Shore guy as well, so I would like to see him win. But probably staying away betting wise. But I'm just really excited to watch.
I'll be bringing the flag in. I got my Welsh flag.
Okay.
I got my Welsh flag. Nice. I got my Welsh shirt.
That might put us on TV. That's a good idea.
Yes. Yeah. You guys, listen. We got Barstool gear. I'll be wearing the Welsh gear. Make sure we get on. I'll do a shoey.
Are you Welsh or is that appropriation?
Okay, no, I know. I am Welsh.
Good.
Travis with the Homely on this summer. It was fantastic.
That's sick.
So I am very much rooting for Jack Shore, but this is a tough fight.
Yeah, it really is.
Literally,
I've been going back and forth all week. All week on it.
I thought before I did tape that I was going to like Simone a lot more than I did. But he doesn't do enough damage. It's like the new rules in the scoring system of how they award damage is really bad for Ricky Simone.
Yeah.
Because
he's a control guy.
He's a control guy, and Jack Shore's get-ups from bottom are really clean.
Yeah.
His
one in his last fight in London.
His butterfly hooks and his get-ups from bottom are really good. I think he's a Japanese jiu-jitsu, like that's like his main thing, and that's what they practice like a ton of. So I think that I think this is a really good line. I think this is like a perfect line. I don't think you can do bad like betting either side. I think though Simone by decision plus 220 is probably like the best bet of the card. I want Shore to win though, for sure. But he just doesn't throw much when they're standing. Simone just doesn't throw much, and Jack Shore throws a lot more. And Valiev, I think, might be quicker than Simone.
I think so.
I think so. And so if you're going to give me a guy that's slower and really just wants to takedowns, and that's what Jack Shore practices like a lot against, I think he should be the favorite, and I think he should win most of the time. But this is going to be a really good test for both of them.
Yeah, actually, I would agree. Just going off what you said too, because I'd be shocked. I would be very, very surprised to say at least that if Simone finished Jack Shore.
Yeah.
So if you're going to bet the 140 to win, I think 220 decisions. If you like Simone, I think that's a good path.
I think you're right. And then the final fight of the prelims, Soriano Dalcha. This one is going to be fireworks. Should be a banger, right? What are the odds on this one?
Soriano's minus like 230.
Yeah, like Dalcha's like plus 195.
Yeah. I kind of like Dalcha.
I was going to say, I know you like Dalcha.
I kind of like Dalcha.
From his last fight, right?
Well, no, his last fight was our boy Brundage, who I bet on, so I can't say that. But that was when Brundage got a good chin. Soriano, his last fight was very weird. He lost to Maximov, but he hurt his knee, and Maximov just kind of like wrestled, like especially once he hurt his knee, he really was like I think it was like the third round, he really just kind of took over, like got the takedown and was able to like kind of keep position. But Soriano was doing pretty well with the takedown like defense. Like he definitely was giving Maximov a tough time, who he hasn't had a tough time on like a lot of other guys like that. So I don't know. I like Dolce. I do think it's going to be a firefight. And Dolce, like he really needs to win. Kind of like the Brundage fight was kind of like he had Brundage pretty hurt, and then Brundage just pulled guillotine and was able to pull it off. Like I said, Brundage is our guy. He's a winner, but I think it's a good fight for Dolce. I just think the price is big. Like Soriano throws big bombs, so he absolutely is liable to get knocked out. But I think they both are. Yeah. So I like Dolce here. There's at that price. If it was a little closer, maybe I might lean the other way. But I think getting almost plus 200, I think is a solid bet for him.
I don't think Puna's a good parlay piece at all.
No, I agree.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's worth that price, just because it's like a boxer's chance, like 50-50. Just like that's like both of them almost. And Dolce, when I was watching back Dolce versus Marc Andre, which was his fight before Brundage, he was really fast. And even though that fight like went to decision, and then we always talk about how Dolce has like no gas at all, he honestly had more gas than I thought he was going to, and he was still throwing big shots. They weren't really hitting. Like, so that's a difference by itself, but he was still throwing bombs. I'm gonna probably hold off for this fight, but I would actually I do have one play. It's gonna be the Soriano round 3 like plus 1,200.
Okay,
just because I think that if Soriano wrestles him, because Dolce on his back is god awful, then he should be able to get a submission, like a rear naked. But like I
possibly
think,
late when he's more tired.
Exactly. Yeah. And like tires out, but I didn't think that his gas tank was as bad as everybody thought. I think that the hold off on this fight is good. It should be a banger.
The first one on the main card, Lauren Murphy versus Misha Tate. This was supposed to happen a few cards ago. I think Lauren Murphy was the side that
she had COVID, I think.
COVID. So that's tough. And now they got it rebooked. UFC Long Island. Good for a legend like Misha Tate to get out in front of a crowd again, I guess. This one, I feel like it's hard. I stay away from this one. Probably lean Misha, but who knows? Yeah,
I think Misha Tate should win. I don't hate a play on like inside the distance. Lauren Murphy's just old.
Yeah.
Her last fight, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure her last fight was a Shevchenko fight, right?
Correct.
So she hasn't fought since last, like, other than the end of September. Yeah. So it's been a long time for her. I like Misha here. I don't know. I just think she's better.
Who knows how her cardio is?
Yeah, that factors into it for me as well.
Yeah.
She's minus 210. Like, I probably wouldn't just lay that in the money line. I also don't like – I'm also not going to sit here and really advocate for her as like a big parlay piece or anything like that.
I don't think so.
I'm more just saying, if you're asking me who I think is going to win the fight, I think Misha Tate's going to win the fight. If you really want some action, I'll probably put a little something on inside the distance, but I'm not like crazy about her, but I think she should win.
Misha by decisions like minus 106. I don't think I'd like her cutting the price tag in half. It's not that bad. Like Misha late, like round 3 is
don't hate that price either.
Yeah, like that's not awful.
What is like 1,000?
Yeah. Or I can check, but Misha round 3 plus 1,600.
Oh wow! All right, so really like that. I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. But like parlay piece, like fight to go to distance is like minus like 300. That's honestly not a bad. That's honestly not a bad parlay piece. Like for this fight, if you're just like throwing, hey, what's going on for this fight? Like, I have no clue who the girls are, but Misha Tate has the ground has much better on the ground game. Yep. Her takedowns looked really good against Renault, but Renault was really old. And then she won rounds against Ketlin Vieira, and Ketlin Vieira is a really good fighter.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this price tag is so wide, like minus 210. I don't think it should be this wide when you're talking about a title challenger coming back.
Yeah,
and fighting, especially against someone who just lost her last fight against Ketlin.
Yeah,
but she should be the favorite.
Shane Burgos versus Charles Jourdain in the featherweight division. Talk about a banger. Talk about fireworks.
845 stand up.
New York. I
New
like that
York
this one is it's
suburbs.
not Shane Burgos versus Billy Q, so it's like, oh, I get to root for him this time. Shane, and that is who I'm rooting for, Shane Burgos.
I noticed even in the chat, our guy Reed is showing Jourdain a lot of love. I've seen a lot of Jourdain love on Twitter as well. I love Burgos in this fight. I'll take my that we grew up like 20 minutes from each other bias aside. I just think Jourdain, like, Burgos has fought the much better competition. The competition he's fought, no one's ever went out there and just dominated Shane Burgos. Like, he's been in a war with Emmett, close fight. Even Cater, he got finished late, but it was a close fight. Edson Barbosa, he got finished late, but close fight. And he's tough as nails.
The
tough
Billy
as
Q
nails.
fight showed that.
Billy Q fight, absolutely. Billy Q wins the first round. He comes back, wins the second, third round, in an all-time fight. Would have been like fight of the year contender, would have been like fight of the night, any other night that Gaethje and Chandler didn't fight the same night. Burgos, he has 6.5-inch reach advantage. Like I said, the competition he's fought against has been much better. This to me, I mean, Burgos is great takedown defense. I see this fight going on the feet regardless. I just think Burgos is much more crisp. The only thing you can say about Burgos is he definitely will take one to give one 100%. He definitely is a guy who keeps his head on the center line a little bit too much. But I don't know. I agree with Reed's big step up for Charles. I don't know. I think Burgos should. I think probably goes to decision, but I think he wins this fight and wins it handily. I'm laying the money line. I already bet it. I got a decent number. It's getting up to 180. I wouldn't be shocked if this gets up to like 200, right around that range. I really, really like Burgos in this fight. I just think he's much better.
We're talking about the Charles Jourdain that lost 2 rounds to Josh Coulibaugh, lost a decision to Andre Fili, lost a fight against Julian Erosa, and then you're gonna give me minus 180 against Shane. You're gonna give Shane Burgos minus 180 against him. That's crazy. I think this line is off. Obviously, Jourdain is very good. He's an exciting fighter.
That's what it is.
He's a very good fight night fighter because he comes in and he can be like the people's main event always when he fights because he puts on great performances. But he fought against a 35-pound Andre Ewell 2 fights ago who moved up to 45, and then Lando Venata, who was working him on the takedowns and was losing that before he got dark.
Very, very weird ending to that fight.
Yeah. He got the choke. It was a beautiful.
And then
choke.
he fought out of it and then just kind of got put. I rewatched it just the other day this week, and he just got put right back into it. Yeah. And I agree with you. It's kind of this. I think he said something like the Spartan kick. I saw Reed just mentioned in the chat. I think people love that Spartan kick. Yep. Venata is obviously known as a very tough guy. So to finish him as early as he did, but I think was definitely impressed people. But fluky-ish, just kind of the way the fight went was very weird. I think they could fight 100 more times. I don't think it goes exactly that way. And I just think Burgos is much, much, much better. Huge step up competition for Jourdain. Where Burgos, I think this is a step down from probably his last 6 fights. I mean, I think Burgos should handle him pretty easily. I'd be shocked if Burgos lost. I just think he's way better.
Stat time for this fight,
please.
Stat time.
Burgos fight has ended in the 3rd round 4 out of the last 9 fights, and Jourdain 2 of his last 4 have ended in the 3rd round.
Okay.
Whether they have won or lost, so that's 6 out of 13. That's so. On the Barstool Sportsbook, it's under alternate rounds. Fight ends in round 3 is plus 650. That's a must play for me.
I like that.
That's a must play.
Honestly, I think I'm going to play Burgos round 3 because I could see a world where, I think Jourdain's a tough guy, but I could see a world where Burgos just peppers him up with the rounds until a standing TK. He's just taking so much. Burgos isn't the most powerful guy, but he's got good pop in his shots. He definitely does damage to people.
There's no I've been seeing some Jourdain is gonna catch Burgos eventually. Burgos has really good cardio.
He literally the only time he really got knocked out was Barbosa, and that literally was his brain was his will was so strong. He got knocked out, and his brain did not allow himself to get knocked out until his body just shut off. Even he got finished by Cater, and it really was I thought that stoppage was a little he was clearly still in it. He got knocked down. I think he got knocked down twice. I think that was more what it was. And then Cater kind of just jumped on top of him and like ran a couple of punches and they just stopped it. And Burgos even contested it immediately.
Yeah.
And we've seen how well that's aged. Like, him and Emmett, I'm pretty sure, was a contender for like fight of the year.
Yep.
It was a nominee. I'm pretty like him and Emmett had an unbelievable scrap.
That was the one
where he even won early rounds and then he lost because Emmett dropped him in the third round. Another one and Emmett has dropped some missiles on people.
Yes.
And he landed a couple I would watch anyone. It was a great fight just to watch in general. Go watch the Emmett Burgos fight. There's some of the shots that Emmett hit Burgos with that Burgos didn't even flinch at was like stunning.
Yeah.
Like Burgos has an unbelievable chin. So I'm not like, listen, anyone can get clipped on any given night. It's the UFC, it's MMA, it's 4-ounce gloves. These guys are the best of the best, but I would be really surprised if Jordan went in there and did something crazy like that to Shane Burgos.
Burgos is 100% a parlay piece this week.
I think Burgos is much more likely to finish him than he is to finish Burgos.
100%.
In the flyweight division, Matt Schnell versus Sue Murderage. I was just put on a text chain with Matt Schnell via Mincy.
Good friend of Mincy. Mincy was like, I talked to him on the phone last night.
Yeah. I was like, he was like, do you want me to connect you via text? I was like, yeah, sure. So he put us on a text chain together, and I said, after you get that win, let's get an interview on Spinnin Backfist. And he was like, I'm down, brother. He's like, I wish I could have came in before the fight.
I like him at this number.
That makes me, he's like, what, plus 220?
He's plus like 210, 220.
Yep.
Like I like him at this dog spot.
To win, obviously, where I'm like, oh, I would love him to win, and then come in here, do an interview with us. He's Mincy's friend. So I'm like, all right, maybe he's got some of that, Mincy charm where it's like Mincy, everything comes up Mincy this year.
Shreveport, Louisiana.
That's right. So
down
it's
in
like,
the bayou.
If Mincy won the college baseball World Series this year, did the key to the Mississippi, got the key and all that, why can't things keep coming up for him, keep coming up for his friends?
Mincy was saying Mincy might actually go to the fights, he said now.
Unreal.
But even it was funny
because
he said it to me even before I realized that he was Mincy's friend. I like Schnell at this price, and it's funny because I feel like in a lot of his last few fights he's been like a dog a bunch.
That's what Mincy said on the phone.
And some of them rightfully so. He's had the Alex Perez fight that's like cursed. They've been like they were like supposed to fight
four times,
and somehow they just fell off every time. But I think there's another one where I think he's fought better competition. Like I actually do like Suma Matahari, but I think Schnell at plus 220, I just think is a big number. Like I don't love laying Suma Matahari minus almost 300.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it. I just don't.
No way.
I just don't see it. I think Schnell is a legitimate live dog here. Plus 220, I think is a very good price for him.
Matt Schnell's last four opponents being Brandon Royval, Rogerio Bontorin, Tyson Nam, and Alejandro Pantoja.
Yeah,
that's much better than Sumidarji's 4 UFC opponents in Zaruk Adashev, Malcolm Gordon, Andre Sukmata, and Louis Smolka.
Yes.
Fact. So
you can argue all 4 are better than the other all.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
Pretty easily.
Yeah. Matt Schnell by submission is like plus 800.
I was going to say, I've seen somebody's almost 9, I think.
He has the massive grappling edge. He just doesn't wrestle much. Like if he gets in a grappling situation, like Sumidarji is not going to want to be in it.
No.
Yeah.
Sumidarji wants to stay on the feet, 100%.
Exactly. Like against Royval, like they were getting into grappling situations, and he was doing well until he got caught with that guillotine. Which was
and Royval can grapple.
I like Royval too. Yeah,
love Royval.
He's like one of like my top 5 favorite fighters.
He's great.
He's awesome. Brandon Royval. He never stops. But he was Schnell didn't throw much against Rogerio Bontorin, where he could have won that. I think he could have won that fight pretty easily if he just put out more volume, and he just couldn't commit to the volume so much, and he's going against a much taller, or not a much taller fighter, but a taller fighter than him for once at flyweight. Sumidarji's like
he's longer,
5'10", or
it's listed at 5'8", but I think he definitely is taller.
I think he's.
I agree with you. I do think he is taller.
It says 5'8", 72-inch reach versus Matt Schnell being 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. I think Sumidarji's taller than that. But anyways,
we'll see tomorrow when they face off.
I don't think he should be a plus 220. I think this is a good dog play. Matt Schnell by submission being plus 900, plus 800.
You're getting that Mincy magic on it too.
Yes. Listen, everything's coming up Mincy right now. It's like you can't go wrong betting on this guy.
People might laugh, but it's true. I think there's something to the superstition there.
Mincy, get Mashnell boosted on Barstool Sports.
I want to see Mincy walk him out. Maybe not this fight, but the next fight. Imagine that.
Listen. For
Dave, like
Dave,
Louisiana state flag behind him.
In his New Orleans shirt, his shiny shirt that he wears in New Orleans.
No, I know. I need him in just the shirt with his own face on it.
Yeah,
He's walking out with Matt Schnell, just a shirt with Mincy face.
Listen, Dave and you are walking out Patty and Molly.
I'm not walking them out. Dave is. That's awesome. But I'm not part of that crew. I'm going to be in the media section, and Molly said she's going to knock a bitch out and then come get on my shoulders and watch Patty's fight from there.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
I said, that's fine by me.
I just agreed to that for you, but sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the co-main event for the we're not on to the co-main event.
We got the Leech.
We got the Leech first. The Leech versus Muslim Salikov. Are you guys Leech guys? I used to be a Leech guy, and then he started cheating, and then I was
I like the Leech. This is a tough fight. This might be like a stay away from me. I think the Leech has gotten a lot of love because of that Ponzinibbio knockout, which I think was a little bit.
Ponzinibbio was washed.
Yeah, I like watching Ponzinibbio fight. He's had some great fights the last couple of years.
His last fight was great.
The Jeff Neal fight was great. The fight he had with Miguel Baeza was a great fight. The knockout was a little. I hate like saying stuff like that is like fluky, but I just don't think if they fight a bunch of other times that happens. I think Ponzinibbio is better than him overall, and I think with the Leech, that's kind of been like he got into the rankings because of that. I think his stock kind of rose maybe more than it should have because of that one knockout. His last fight was
he's a dog in this though, right?
Yes, he's plus like 140. 145 he is in the Barstool Sports right now.
Even read it over there.
His last fight was Chimaev.
Yeah,
which was tough. Like he didn't get anything off. He just got like grapple like molested.
If I recall correctly, he did hit Chimaev with his two first punches in the UFC. Too little.
Correct.
Like on his back right before
strikes.
he was choked to sleep.
Yep. So
he might have slipped one in while Tribe was talking to Dana.
yeah.
But this is a tough one. This is a tough fight. I'll probably a stay away from me gambling wise. I don't love it. Maybe I'm curious what the fight not to go the distance. Maybe
I used to like the Leech, and then I found out he was a dirty fighter, and I was like, I can't root for him.
Because Silikov has got some pretty good power, and we've seen the Leech has shown to have some power. So maybe something like that. And that for me is more just looking for you if you really want to play something, play it. But I'm not crazy about this fight betting wise.
I like fight goes distance.
You like that it goes to distance?
I like to go to distance.
Okay, interesting.
Salikov doesn't throw much at all. His numbers per UFC stats, he throws 3.1 or he lands 3.137 strikes per minute, and then he gets hit with 2.36. That's just. He's a very good defensive striker. He has 68% striking defense. So if we're talking him versus Herbert Burns is 33%, huge difference. Salikov is a kung fu guy, and he's actually very big in China. Leach was talking about it. Salikov is a very well-known name because he fought in China regionally before he came to the UFC.
Kung fu or MMA?
What?
When he was fighting in China?
Oh, he was fighting MMA, but
Gotcha.
with the kung fu background, China obviously
of course
was big fans of him. So they're actually showing the fight for free. They're broadcasting it all out this weekend.
Unreal
for it. I like fight goes. That's minus 125 if anything for this fight. I think Leach should be the underdog, but I think this is priced fair. I have to watch a little bit more on both of them before I would make a hard pick. I would think Salikov by decision would probably be the method I'd pick right now, but Leach obviously has a puncher's chance, and he's very very good at finding his range eventually.
There you go for that. And then the co-main event, as I alluded to earlier, the karate hottie Michelle Waterson versus Amanda Lemos. Amanda Lemos is the favorite in this fight, and I think it's for good reason.
Favorite.
I like Michelle Waterson as a person, as a fighter, entertaining. I don't think she has any business in this fight.
I don't think so either. I like Lemos inside the distance, even if you want to do really. I mean, her path to victory here, I do think is knockout. I like Amanda Lemos by KO, but I would just in case I'll play there's one of those where the line by KO is plus 225 and the line by finish is 205. I think she can get her out of there.
Michelle Waterson's last win was against Angela Hill, 5-round decision in September 2020.
A split decision.
Yeah, like, and before that, what was her last one? Carolina Kowalkiewicz, which is like, again,
This one where Amanda Lemos, she went up and she got the standing triangle against Andrade.
Yeah.
Waterson ain't Andrade.
Is this the UFC giving Amanda Lemos like a great big name opponent in a big spot to try to boost her stock?
Partly I do think it's a good bounce back spot for her. Like Andrade was like, she made obviously a huge jump up to fight Andrade.
Yeah.
But I think she should just work her on the feet here. Like I think she can get her out of there. I really do.
Michelle Waterson's 5 wins in the UFC are Paige Van Zant, Courtney Casey by split, Felice Herrig, Carolina Kowalkiewicz, and a split over Angela Hill. Her losses are Rose Namajunas, Tisha Torres, Joanna, Carla Esparza, and Marina Rodriguez. Very much Amanda Lemos is more so on the losers category than the winners category in that.
It sounds like the people that beat her, like you just listed off the names, they're definitely just on another level for sure.
Yes.
All of them. Yeah,
absolutely. I like Lemos, the implied win probability for this is 73%. I think Lemos wins 9 times. I think this is a good parlay piece. I agree with Ev. Lemos instead of distance is a good price. Lemos early, round 1. I think she finds her eventually.
Round 1 even. Wow. Brian Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez. It's time. The main event. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be on early as well. Prelim start at 11, main card at 2 p.m., I believe. So this fight will probably be 4:35, somewhere around
probably
that area.
4:30.
And this is a fight you're not going to want to miss. I think it's an awesome matchup for both guys. It's an interesting one. We talked to Ortega about it. He's very cool with Yair. That's another like interesting wrinkle. He said he's like really the only guy in the featherweight division he is cool with that he now has to fight. And they're going to go on and put a show on.
Mexican connection.
Yeah. Having Brian Ortega in the office, there's just no way I could like pick or bet against him after talking to him like that. So I got to go Brian Ortega. But I even think before we got him, I leaned more Ortega than Yair.
Regardless of the fact that I now love him as a person, I love him in this fight as well. I really, really do.
I do too.
I just don't like. I think Yair's like good. Like I think he held his own in that last round against Max, which is impressive. Obviously, Max is a legend. I just think Ortega's literally only lost to Holloway and Volkanovski. That's it.
And I feel like Ortega faced a different Holloway than Yair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Ortega finishes him. I really do. I think submission
late.
plus 255 is a good play. Rounds like
Plus
4 or 5.
yeah.
I don't think is a bad play at all. I think, and we've seen. I asked him about like he just has that great jiu-jitsu where like you just need to give him an inch.
He said he watches for windows. The
That
way he
one,
talked
give
about
him that
was
inch, and
interesting.
he will just take it. I just think Ortega's much. And honestly, I think Ortega could potentially win this fight just on the feet as well.
You can get takedowns too.
Absolutely get takedowns. I think there's a variety of ways that Ortega can win this fight. I just think he's much more well-rounded.
Frankie Edgar, man, that was crazy.
Yeah, I think that was the first time Frankie had been knocked out. At the time, I believe.
That's a fact.
And I don't know. I just think he's much better, much more well-rounded. I think he's a little thicker as well, like bigger. I really, really like Ortega in this fight.
Seem pretty big.
I think I'm going to play Ortega. I'm going to play a money line. I'm going to play him by finish, submission, sprinkle a couple late rounds, like Lee said, for like third, fourth, maybe a little third, fourth, fifth round. I just think he's way, way better. I think this is going to be a big play for me. I love Ortega in this fight. I just think he's much better. I think it's going to be a weird spot for the UFC, especially if he wins, because you're going to kind of be like, he's already fought for the belt twice. He did give Volkanovski the best comp he's probably had in his last, honestly, probably any of his fights in the UFC, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
closest to beating him for sure.
And without question, I mean, had him literally within inches.
Yeah.
I can still picture watching it and seeing how fucking red Volkanovski's the top of his head. His bald head was, and I cannot believe it. Literally him just kicking his legs, doing anything he could to get out of it. And then
when you see someone kick their legs like that, you're like, oh, it's
like
done.
That's like he said he literally like saw the light, like he was like right there. So I mean, credit to him for even getting that close. I said it. I love Ortega. Just love Ortega in this fight a lot.
I do think it's a close fight. Do you guys feel that way, or do you think Ortega is going to go in there and like?
I think Yair is good. Like I don't think it's gonna. I'd be shocked if it went in there, and he just like absolutely like ran through him like Yair, because I think Yair is very tough. But I do, like I said, I think that if they legitimately just stayed on the feet for 5 rounds, I think Ortega is capable of winning a fight like that. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, what he even did to like when he fought Zombie a couple of fights ago. I mean, that they pretty much stayed on the feet for 5 rounds, and he just took it to the Zombie on the feet.
Yeah.
I think his striking has gotten much, much better. Ortega, I'm talking about, and I think, like I said, I just think he has a lot of ways to win. I just think he's better overall. So I mean, it's like one of those where when you say close, like I think there's a world that he could like 50-45, like 49-46 him if it does go to decision. But I do think he's going to get a submission at some point. That's what I think.
Takedowns wise, like his wrestling, he's actually gone to like his wrestling in the last like 3 fights, more so than he ever did before. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in his first 7 UFC fights, he got a total of 1 takedown. In his last 3 fights, he got 2 against Holloway, 3 against Korean Zombie, and 2 against Volk. Like, and we know how good like Volk's and Holloway's takedown defense is.
Yeah.
So if he's getting takedowns, I don't understand why. Like Holloway was getting takedowns against Yair.
Yeah.
I really don't know why Ortega couldn't. And
It's his timing, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's
Dude, the
Ortega's
guy,
timing.
he's sharp, high IQ.
The way,
fighter.
like you were talking about being opportunistic, it's that he watches very calmly for a window. He said he's got to stay calm, sees a window, and he goes for it. I feel like it's the same thing with takedowns and submissions for him.
Yeah, no, and I do, and I think obviously we've seen him getting a lot of these. We talk about like he's had like 5 or 6 fight of the nights, like even like we've seen him take big damage, but only from like the elite, like only from like Max and like Volkanovski. Like, other than that, we haven't really seen him take these big damage, especially like more recently. I'm talking about as well. I just think he's a lot better than Yair. I really do.
So, what do you guys think for?
Also, shout out Grant McCullough watching. God bless.
Shout out Grant.
So
parlay this.
I'm on Ortega money line for 2 units, by the way, and I'm definitely going to add sub for this, and maybe like inside the distance for a unit.
That's what I was going to play.
But my parlay that I put or that I got, I had in earlier. It was Burgos, it was Ortega, it was Lemos, and it was fight goes to decision in the what women's fight were we just talking about?
It was the
Lauren Murphy fight.
Yeah,
the Lauren Murphy fight. That was going to be mine. That was like plus like 370, I think. If we wanted to take the juicer out in Lauren Murphy fight goes distance,
I was gonna say that
was because I would just not like the parlay to people like it's like rooting for an under.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like it's like the reverse, like you're like rooting for someone not to get finished. That's the 3 that I feel really good about. All 3 of them is the Ortega, Lemos, and Burgos, which puts us at plus 218. Hopefully, it gets up close.
I'd be fine
250.
leaving it at that.
I'm good with I'd be good with those 3. Also good too because they're all in the main card.
Yep.
Early fights. So like Burgos
will have time to.
Burgos will be the first fight. That fight won't be till at least 2:30.
Yep.
Give some people the time to get it in.
It'll be.
And those are 3 that
be
I feel
2:30.
very confident about those 3.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot. All right.
So
Thank you to everyone
Burgos,
for tuning in.
Lemos, Ortega.
And check it out on the Barstool Sportsbook. Probably tomorrow afternoon, evening. It'll be up. Make sure you get it in early because they are early fights on Saturday, 11 a.m. prelims, 2 p.m. main card. And come say hey if you see us at the fights. We'll be there.
Hey, like the stream.
Yep.
Like the stream. Subscribe. Comment after we get done here to make sure that we get more views.
Comment what picks you like. Give us the picks.
Exactly. Give us an underdog. We'd love to see it. Thanks, guys.
God bless.